Is this okay to talk about what's his shoot Alex Houston? Um, he passed away. Is he the Alex Houston with the Elmer puppet?
Yes. Yeah, he was a ventriloquist stage hypnotist in the country music industry.
And he wasn't
That
very
made it.
funny either.
No,
I saw his.
no, he
Actually,
did a
that's not
lot of
good.
pedophile jokes. Yeah.
Yes, I have a clip. Would it be inappropriate to share this one joke so that John and Greg can see how obvious he was?
Yeah, sure. That'd be
One
great.
last thing, and this is the guy, right, Kathy?
Yeah.
All right. I wrote this joke down 3 times, and I still don't fully get it. So I'm sure you guys will be able to inform me what he's talking about.
Is that it? No, I don't think so. Elmer, I think you find people like poetry that has a message to it. Now, here's a little toast I think illustrates my point pretty well because it has a moral overtone to it. Now, that sounds interesting. It goes like this, okay? Here's to the man who kisses his wife, and he kisses his wife alone, for there's many a man kissing another man's wife when he should be kissing his own.
Oh, now that's heavy stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I get the idea now.
Yeah.
Something like this.
Like what?
Here's to the man who rocks his child and rocks his child alone. There's many a man rocking another man's child when he thinks he's rocking his own.
That's in front. That's kids. That's kids in the audience. So they don't even. I don't even know why they're laughing. I don't even know. I didn't even know what it meant.
It's not,
the
how is that
time.
even?
The
Why
kids
would they
don't
laugh?
know what that
It
means.
must have been a sign that said "laugh now" or something.
Yeah.
All I
Probably.
can think of.
So
Probably,
he's not
you know.
funny, and he's pretty obviously was sick. I am curious how he said he was going to go back and he was going to get you and your daughter away from Alex, and obviously he did later say that his life was no longer the same after doing that. His bank accounts were drained, and you guys were running all over the country, is what I heard. But I'm curious how he approached you. How did he meet you?
The first thing they did was drain his bank accounts
Wow.
because they said like a satanic reversal, would take your life savings for saving a life. And that's what they did. And he had over $3 million in the bank at the time, which he had earned, on his level of intelligence. Mark just said, you just made a big mistake. You backed a man in a corner who has nothing left to lose. Again, wisdom outthinks a criminal mind every time. So it's just that much more reason to do, to expose them. So they made it was difficult. We were literally dodging bullets, and the access denied for reasons of national security details our journey through the corrupted justice and mental health system, trying to help my daughter, how we survived to become whistleblowers, how we made it against the odds, and what we were able to accomplish, and everything. So it's amazing story, but I think our love story is one that is significantly profound, and calling me an airhead in that one clip is like,
yeah, I was wondering. I saw you smile when he said that.
I squirmed a little when he said that.
Yeah, I know. When I started healing, I loved Mark so much because he was we were safe for the first time. He was helping us in every way. I mean, I thought he must be a god or something to be so vastly different from everything I knew, because by the time he rescued my daughter and me, I didn't know good people existed in the world.
Wow.
So he was absolutely amazing to me. And I saw his animals loved him. And I'd never seen that either, because people who abuse children abuse animals and vice versa. So it was so pervasive, abusing animals around me and using that as a trauma too. But Mark's animals loved him and they trusted him. And he had fox and raccoons, and he had all kinds of pets, and every one of them would just go run to him and hug him and love him. And it was like through them, I was able to sense that I could trust Mark. And once I started trusting Mark, I was able to apply the information that he was handing me, that in order to heal. And as I started healing, you know, of course, I was so in love with him, but he wouldn't have anything to do with me. And he said, you've got to know who you are first. You got to heal first. You have to know who you are in order to have something to give in a relationship.
I remember that. I remember that from the book, but I don't remember where you were when he did come and say, "Hey, I'm rescuing you." I don't remember that from the book. Where were you living, and how did he actually get you in the car? That's what I'm missing.
Well, I was with Alex Houston at that time, and I was going to be transferred over to, I was going to be killed because I was turning 30, and I was to be killed at Bohemian Grove. And that was, and my daughter was going to be turned over to the Epstein of the time, the guy who had all the blackmail tapes and everything else, a guy named Michael Dante. And Mark knew all that was about to transpire from his level of intelligence, and he just, you know, intercepted while I was being transferred. So
did you know you were about to be killed, or did you find that out later?
On a level I knew, but it wasn't like I had any conscious thought or could do anything about it. I couldn't think to save myself. I couldn't think to escape, like he had said. But it was definitely something that was, you know, unfolding at that time when Mark.
So you were 30. How old was Kelly at that time?
Kelly was like 8, and then she was still young. And when Mark came and rescued us, at the time, Alex Houston was in Boys Town in Nebraska, where they abused the children and used the MK Ultra and everything. I think Franklin Cover-Up does a lot of explanation on that, but he was in Boys Town. He actually had the key to Boys Town hanging on his wall because he was there so often. But since Mark knew he was gone, that was when he came in and rescued Kelly and me and all of our farm animals, our dogs and horses and guineas and chickens and cows. I mean, he rescued everything, which was really impressive to us. So that was beautiful. And he took us to safety at that point. And it was a while before I could gain conscious thought and have enough awareness. But I began healing right away because of being safe for the first time. So it was a beautiful experience.
So did he accomplish this rescue all by himself, or did he have a team that helped him?
Well, he had a lot of people behind him that were supporting him, and but he did it himself. It was a physical rescue in that regard. And like I said, he said that, you know, I needed to heal before, you know, so that I could have something to give in a relationship. And that was a great motive for me to heal really fast, you know. So I used that. I applied the methods for healing that he taught me, which number one was writing memory out by hand, because the memory was starting to leak. Since I was turning age 30, the neuron pathways were starting to open up. Because I was safe for the first time, the neuron pathways were opening up in my brain, and memory was leaking out. And I would get these memory flashes. And he told me, he said, make a note of those and then write them out. And taught me what questions to ask, you know, like, how did I get there? Where did I go after? What do they say? Who is saying it? You know, and like that. So I would write it out, because when the very act of moving a pen activates the logic, critical analysis part of the brain. So it takes the emotionally incomprehensible repressed trauma and shifts it over to logic, where it's written out on paper and then consciously seen. And all of a sudden the healing is happening on all levels at once. So
do you still have all these notes?
Yes, I do. I have most of them. A lot of them were confiscated in FBI raids, but definitely have many of them still. And a lot of the evidences we were able to keep in spite of all the raids.
That leads to the next question. When were these FBI raids? When did they all happen?
Oh, just intermittently. They started right away, and just
In the
continued.
90s.
Yeah, and like when my daughter was in custody of the state of Tennessee and the so-called Child Protective Services, she got thrust into that corrupted system. And the pictures that she would draw me, or pictures I would have of her, the FBI would come in and just take all that, off the walls and off, where I had them hanging up or whatever. It's just ridiculous what they take.
Hey, if you like these kind of conversations and you'd like to see more, click like and subscribe to our channel. And if you're at the computer and you'd like to hear the whole podcast, click right here.